Hi, everyone. I'm Madison from Master of Project Academy. We are with Charles today, and Charles is one of our thousands of PMP students, and he recently passed his exam. So first of all, congrats, Charles, and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate this interview.
Yeah. So to kick it off, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for work?
So thanks, Madison, once again. My name is Charles Badu, originally from Ghana. I migrated here right after high school for college. I used to live in the Peoria, Illinois area. I went to Bradley University. I worked there for about 5 years. And I figured I needed a change in career, so I transitioned to Houston, Texas, and I've been working for the oil and gas industry, pretty much working on projects on the Gulf of Mexico. Currently, I work for a company called Oceaneering International Inc. Oceaneering as a company is a subsea engineering and applied technology company based in Houston, Texas. They provide engineering services and hardware to customers who operate in the marine space and other environments. In Oceaneering, I am a subsea electrical engineer. I'm currently in the subsea robotics and offshore projects group. I provide operations engineering, risk assessments, design, projects, maintenance, hardware, software support, and analysis capabilities. So we support operations for operations in subsea on the Gulf of Mexico and all around the world. And we pretty much work on ROVs, robotics, intervention, work over control systems, and tooling. I don't want to bore you with all that stuff, but
That's a lot of
that's what I do.
wow, that's amazing. Why did now feel like a good time to get PMP certified with your current line of work?
Yes. So to get my PMP has been one of my goals. And it's just that I work offshore a lot and I'm always away. I spend most of my time offshore. So there's not time to do it. Well, I'll not say COVID is a good thing, but COVID did happen and that's our way of life. So I figured I should work on my time a little bit now that I'm working most of the time at home.
Mhm.
So I figured, you know what, in 2021, I'm going to take my PMP. So I registered for the 35 contact hours through MOPA, Master Project Academy. And that was, I believe, in November of 2020. I believe at Thanksgiving. They had a Thanksgiving sale. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take advantage of this. And I had actually had half of it off. So that that was good. And so yep. So I that's when I got into it. So I after I took the 35 contact hours, so because it's a requirement for PMP.
Great.
And in December, I structured my study plan. I'm a very kind of detailed kind of type A personality. So I had an Excel sheet. My wife is like, why are you getting into all this stuff for? So I had a detailed study plan and I started in December. Well, December because of Christmas and the holidays, and I have two kids, a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. So obviously, time is very crucial.
Mhm.
So I had to create a study plan so I can know how to tackle it. So I pretty much started in December. I believe on Christmas Day. That's when I drew my study plan.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. In COVID, I mean, that's what I'd call a silver lining, right? Like you
yeah,
had more
yeah,
time to invest in yourself. And so
yeah.
you
Oh
just have to
yeah,
carve out that time and be really intentional about it. And
yes.
not to toot your horn or anything, but I know that you did very, very well as one of the top students that
Oh,
really
I
excelled
did, huh?
in the
I
exam.
didn't know that.
You get to hear on the inside. That's great. That's great, Charles. So
Yeah.
you just touched on a little bit of how long it took for you to study
Hmm.
for the PMP exam, but
Yeah.
you said you started Christmas Day, more or less. So how long
Yes.
did it take until exam day for studying?
So obviously, the PMP is a very detailed and it's the material is quite overwhelming, to be honest. I'm an engineering student, but this one is a lot a lot of reading. So and obviously there are about 10 knowledge areas that you need to know and you need to pretty much understand the material in the PIM book. And obviously, there's so many materials out there, and it scares you. To be honest, you watch YouTube and people say I've taken like 10,000 questions, and you're like, oh my goodness. So I was like, you know what? I don't know what I'm going to get myself into, and I do know the material is quite comprehensive. So I created a study plan, and I gave myself 3 months to take it. So I said I was going to take it somewhere in March. That was, I believe, ending of March. And then as it was getting closer with work and other stuff, so it was pushing again. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to fall back into the cycle of not doing this. So I'm going to give myself a hard date. So I said April. And I talked to my manager, and she's a very nice person. And she's like, yeah, we will give you April. Go ahead and go for it. So I gave myself a date, and I stick to my study plan. And to be honest, you need to stick to that study plan. And then I had help. My mom, I live here with my mom, and oh God, she's so helpful. My wife, super helpful. And so they do understand this is what I wanted. And so I follow my study plan. I used to get up at 4 a.m. so I can get a couple of hours done. And then in the evening, after obviously getting my honey to-do list done, then I can head back to our community center and go study some more. So I just knew I had to stick to the plan. And obviously I have work to do with my daytime job. And sometimes it gets pretty overwhelming. So you had to balance it. And then with COVID, everything is just different now. So I had to make use of the time and the atmosphere that we have right now.
Well, it sounds like a support system was really helpful for you as well.
Yes, it was. I thank God for them.
That's great. So you touched on a little bit about the amount of material feeling a little overwhelming. What other struggles did you encounter while preparing for the exam?
So the struggle that I had was obviously the timing and the kids, but the material, what they call the ITTOs, the inputs, you need to know those ITTOs. Okay, I want to say you have to memorize it, but you need to memorize those because that was what was the struggle there. Because you need to know all those inputs and the tools and the techniques and the outputs, and it's a little different, especially with an engineering background. We do a different kind of stuff, so this was a little different, but it's something that I do. I mean, I handle a lot of projects, so. And I do know it was necessary, so I just had to follow the material. Yeah, and it was tough, but just like anything else, right?
Right. It sounds like you had a very diligent process.
Yeah.
So leads me to my next question. How many sample PMP exam questions did you take before
that I don't want viewers out there to get overwhelmed with the number of questions you need to take.
Right.
But like for me, going in for the first time, watching YouTube and everybody said you need to take at least 2,000 questions. So for me, to answer your question, I did take about 2,000 questions getting in. But after taking the exam, it's not really so much about the number of questions you take. The questions do build your confidence because they are very wordy, and you need to sit down, you need to read, and time is a factor too. So taking practice questions, don't get me wrong, you need to. But if, let's say, for example, you take 500 questions and you're very confident with the material, go for it. Go ahead and take it. But obviously, time is a factor too. Sitting down for 4 hours and 30 minutes, that takes a toll. So you need to plan to put that into consideration as well. So the more questions you take, and then making yourself sit down and take those practice exams like for 4 hours and 30 minutes, set your clock, give yourself some periods in between. It definitely helps. So yes, take more questions, but understand the material more and know what they are asking, because those guys in PMP, they set on their ways. Let me be honest. Okay. They don't cut corners on what they want you to know. And honestly, it do help because it's stuff that we do practice. And after you take the exam or you read the material, you understand what I'm saying.
Right. I spoke with another student recently who had mentioned that, he hasn't been in the student mode in a long time. So to your point about just building that confidence and practicing that focus, as adults, if you haven't been in a student mindset for a while, it's kind of hard. It feels like
it is. It is. I was teaching myself to write at one point in time. I have not written for so long. Everything we do is computers and typing and stuff. And now I'm like taking notes, and I was like, wow, this is interesting.
Right, right.
Yeah. So it's a mindset, obviously, if you wanted to get it done. I mean, people go do their postgraduate after so many years after school. So it's all about, okay, this is what I think I need in my career right now. And I'm going to, do whatever it takes to get it done. So it's
Great.
doable. Yeah. But it takes a challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about the buildup before sitting down on exam day. That exam day, do you have any specific tips on how people can keep their cool and perform the best?
No, that's the key word. Keep your cool. I'll be honest. I was very anxious. And my wife was like, "You studied so much, okay?" And that even scared me more. So I was like, "Okay, so if I go and I don't do well, you know,
Pressure.
so pressure." And I hold myself to much more higher esteem because I didn't leave no stones unturned. I studied pretty well for the exam, but I was so anxious. And so getting in, what I'll advise is, if you know you've studied the material well, even if you are, a little bit in the gray area, just take breathing techniques and just know you're going to do well. And that's what I would say. Just to breathe. That's what I did, to be honest. I was driving there and I was breathing in and out. And I was like, Charles, this is not the first time you're taking an exam.
Right.
To calm down already. So I breathed in. I didn't look at any material the day.
Okay.
Obviously, I went to bed a little late, I'll be honest, because I just couldn't. I was so, into it. So I was just going through everything I can do, my cheat sheet. So I went to bed, I believe around midnight. More others who advise otherwise, but that's just me. And I got up around like 5:30 because I had to be there around 8 o'clock to beat traffic and all that.
Sure.
So yeah, just breathe in, relax, and when the exam starts, just breathe in. And every question that you read, and you answer it, and you breathe in, you say, you know what, I got this. I've studied for it. This is nothing new. It can be done. And then one question to the next.
Great.
Before you know, it's 4 hours, 30 minutes, and you're like, wow, it's up.
That's
Yeah.
great advice. That's really nice advice. And how was the support you received from Master Project Academy throughout the PMP?
Oh, MOPA. Great. Bar none. The support was awesome. The material was great. They have all these online tools and materials and resources that you can go to take the prep exam. It was great. But for me personally, it was the tutor that I had during the 35 contact hours that I had to take. She was phenomenal. Yana, if you're listening to this, thank you so much. Yana was great. I was emailing her all the time. Like for one time I was reading this question and I was challenging her that my answer was right. I got it wrong and I felt so defeated, right? I knew I was wrong, but I was like, no, I think I'm right. So I sent her an email and I was like, you know what? We need to look into this question because I think I'm very right. And then she came back obviously with this elaborate email and pointed it out. One keyword, okay? It was one keyword I overlooked. And I was like, yes, she's right. So that's the thing with PMP exam. One keyword throws you off. And they are so smart out there and they know what to do to take your mind off because the questions are so wordy and you might miss one keyword and that's it. So, and that also can be a disadvantage because obviously going into the exam, you want to catch those keywords and before you know, it's 4 hours and you're not anywhere. So it's you need to have a good eye coordination to pick out some keywords and obviously read through the questions in a very timely manner so you can get through it.
Right.
But yeah, the support system was great. I loved it. I keep emailing her and she helps you, especially like if you trying to fill in your application into get into the exam. MOPA helps with that. And obviously my tutor helped with that because like I said, going into it, I was a blank slate. I was like, I have no idea, but she definitely helped. So if you're going to take it, I'll say you should recommend her. Say, I want Yana specifically to help me.
I'm sure she'll appreciate you after this, getting all these special requests. That's great.
But she was good. She was good. So I have to give her credit. She was very good.
That's wonderful. So you, throughout this conversation, you've sprinkled in tips and words of wisdom from your own journey, but do you have anything that you want to share with future PMP candidates who are considering whether or not to to take this
to take it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you should. I mean, even if you're not um, handling projects or you don't have project management experience and you feel like that's something that obviously if you're going to take the exam, I'm pretty sure that's the direction you want to take your career. I would say you should. It's a very good exam. I enjoyed it, but most importantly, as project or as a project manager, it's not just about just finishing a project on time and obviously making your customers happy and all that stuff that you learn. You do have an ethical responsibility, a professional responsibility to be ethical. So one thing that I was just this PMP code of conduct. I would say you guys should read that and understand that very well. It's going to help you answer a lot of questions. I was very surprised, like, wow, after reading so much material, this is where they're getting at. And obviously, you guys know everything is now Agile now. They've changed it a little bit, but it's still the same. This material is still the same. It's just that they are emphasizing on Agile methodologies more, but it's still the same. So just it's a little, probably like 2-3 pages long, and it helps. So, and it helps you as a person. So you need to be ethically minded, especially when you're handling projects, because your stakeholders, hold us accountable. So,
Right.
yeah.
Wow, that's a good.
But go for it. It's a good exam. I enjoyed it, and don't put it away. If you want to do it now, just go for it and just do it. Just get a good steady plan and delve into it. Enjoy it, and I'm pretty sure you do well.
Great. And finally, Charles, how likely is it that you would recommend Master of Project Academy to a friend or a colleague?
Let me think about it. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. It helps. Go for it. Yep. They get good material, good support system. They are online. Everything you need is there. You just have to do it.
That's great.
That's what I would say. Yeah.
Thank you again so much for your time today and sharing a little bit about your journey. I know it was stressful, 4 a.m. That's pretty intense, but you got through it. And I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. I did enjoy the interview as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.